I am your host, Howie Barber, along with my beautiful sidekick, my co host, my wife of 32 plus years, Elizabeth Barber.
Okay, so twice now in my introduction, you've called me beautiful. So now that's a regular feature of your introduction and you can never stop doing it. It's now my favorite part of the podcast.
My favorite is when I say, thanks, I'll see you next week. So, part of what we're going to do with the Life Served Neat podcast is we're trying to explain to you why we're doing it, right? I mean, there's more than 1,000 podcasts out there. Everybody has a microphone, everybody has the ability to do a podcast. So, why invest your time to listen to us?
And I think that's a question we all ask ourselves whenever we listen to anybody's podcast. The barrier to entry is really low. Anybody can do it, but not everybody wants to do it. And so, what I'm hoping that we can bring to the table is our network of people that have really valuable things to say, but they're not going to start their own podcast, right? So we can build a platform and have them come on and capture their thoughts.
What I want to express to everybody out there is we respect your time. Time's the only thing you can't get back. You can make more money, you can have all kinds of excess of anything,
Mhm.
but time you never get back. So we respect your time. We're not going to waste your time with silly talking head nonsense. We're going to have real life experiences. We're going to have subject matter experts. We're going to have some very interesting people from all different areas of business and sports. Man, I think I landed that Olympic wrestler. I think so.
Oh, that's going to be exciting. So these aren't people that are famous. They're not people that are rich. These are people that are in our sphere of influence that we interact with that are regular people. Those are the people that don't necessarily have a platform to have their thoughts and ideas recorded. And that's really what I'm excited about. I'm here every bit as much to learn from everyone else as I am to share what I know.
You know, at one point I was like, not everybody's going to write a book. And I think we have 3 or 4 authors lined up already. I mean, these guys and gals, but these folks really have an unbelievable breadth of knowledge.
Yeah. And we need to capture that. Anybody can do a podcast. Now, today, anybody can publish a book, but not everybody is going to publish a book. It's just not their thing. But we still want to hear their philosophies, their stories, their wisdom. We still want to hear all of that.
And we have access to guys that are at the tail end of their career. Okay,
Mm.
folks, I say guys, I'm from the Northeast. So guys is every person, men, women, dogs, cats. It's you guys.
Use
So
guys.
just work with me on this. I am not a chauvinist at all. I'm pro woman, but I'm going to say guys. So we have access to folks who are at the tail end of their careers, who
Mhm.
are in the middle of their careers, and some will be joining us that are just starting out in their careers, right? That have perspective,
Mhm.
unique perspective on what they're doing and the areas they're touching.
And they're starting from a different point than what we all started from. And so it's interesting to get that perspective from the younger generation. Although I run into people who think that they're too young to have anything of value to say. And so that's not the case at all because they start from a different starting point. So to see what their vision is as they go forward is going to be interesting.
And once the senior knowledge retires, we just lose that. The tribal knowledge is gone out of the workplace, gone out of the life experience.
It is. And you see that a lot in skilled trades. So my job is in the skilled trades, and that has been a topic of conversation now for well over a decade, is the ever increasing average age of anybody that's working in the skilled trades as they're getting closer to retirement. There's not nearly as many people coming in to take their place. So you're starting to see those retirement announcements, those retirement parties. Well, before these folks go, somebody should probably hit record. And that's what we're here to do.
The ability to record, the ability to save, to build a library like this, it's not scarce anymore, right? Everybody can do it. You just have to do it.
Right. and not everybody wants to do it. Part of the reason why we're doing this is we don't have never done this before. We're actually learning this as we're doing it. So it's not going to be professional grade, might be a little bit choppy. We will evolve as we go on, but it's kind of exciting to learn something. I think I read somewhere that if you're not learning, you're dying. So we are here to learn, and we are going to do this as imperfect as it is. We're going to keep doing it and learning it and getting better.
And with all the AI out there where you watch a little video and you go, that real or is that AI? I
Mm.
can promise you this is going to be all real. This is not AI. So while you have tons of information coming at you, we're going to put it in the right perspective. So you get to see it, you get to ask your questions and fill in knowledge.
Yeah. So last year I took a role implementing AI at work. And so 2025 was kind of the year of everybody adopting AI and implementing it. It's a lot harder than what people make it seem, especially at a corporate business level. But I think 2026 is my hot take. 2026 is the year where people get a little burned out on everything being AI, and there is such a skepticism about what they're looking at. Was this done by a real person, or is this an AI generated thing? And it's my personal mission in 2026 to put out content that is so clearly human done that is appealing to people, because it's appealing to me. Sometimes I scroll through my LinkedIn feed and I'm like, where are the actual real people? So I'm on a one woman mission to put the real people back into the digital platform, even as I'm actually implementing AI at work. So we've got to have a good, healthy balance there.
And we've spoken about this before, and I know you have very strong viewpoints on this. What do you think is going to happen with all this AI? What's going to happen in the workplace?
Well, I think that you're going to see a backlash to it, but not in the backlash where people are refusing to use it. In fact, people are adopting it and using it. But what I'm actually seeing happen already is that it's pushing people back to in-person meetings. You're seeing those, hey, let's meet somewhere. Let's have a meeting. People aren't content to do everything by Zoom anymore. They want to be in person. Probably if the stakes are high enough, if there's money on the table, somebody's getting on a plane or driving a car, and you are going to meet somewhere and sit around the same table and make sure that everybody is aligned with what's going on. I mean, because with AI today, it's so good. You could AI this whole thing, this whole interaction between me and you. It could be scripted. Our voices could be cloned. Our video could be cloned. And this could be 100% be done with AI from start to finish. It would probably be a lot more like perfect if it was AI than it is with me and you talking back and forth right now, but it could be done. And
What an interesting human response out of AI.
right. Yes. Yes. So that's what I am already seeing. And I think you'll see more of that.
Well, this show is going to be live, not Memorex, for everybody old enough to remember that commercial.
That's a throwback.
No hype, there's no BS, there's no filters. What you see is how we live our life, what we do, and the people we know. It's all genuine, all real, all great folks.
Here's one of the things I like about podcasts in general. So, one of the drums that I beat all the time, that anybody who is around me a lot, and particularly who works in my business unit, I say all the time, education has never been cheaper or more accessible to absolutely anybody, right? You have a cell phone in your hand, you have access to the knowledge of the world, and you don't really have to pay for it outside of your cell phone plan, or you could go to the library and access it all completely for free. I think podcasts are a great way to become educated. Some great content creators out there. And I think podcasts are a great way to get educated.
Well, everyone has a story. Not every story is amazing, but everyone has a story. And we're going to share a bunch of them here. We're going to share growth. We're going to share success. We're going to share lessons learned from failure.
I actually just had that conversation. Everybody has a story, and got pushback on that. And they said, no, everybody has events. Not everyone has insight. And a good story requires some insight. So we'll get some insight here from people that have actually been doing it out in the wild for a lot of years. We're going to hit that record button before we lose the chance to capture it.
I think
Mhm.
the most important thing is the lessons learned from failures when it blows up in your face. I mean, you might have some lessons
Mhm.
learned from success, but there's no lesson better than the one that just goes in your
Ah,
face and
yeah.
you have to pick up the pieces. Now what? Right? That's a hard
Mhm.
lesson learned.
And those are the sticky ones. And then I also love the people that have the philosophy to fail faster, right? Iterate, try things, fail faster. And we'll get some of those stories on here too, where people just, you know, do it, try it. If it works, it works. If it's not, we'll course correct and we'll try something else and we'll keep trying faster. I love Cody Sanchez. She's one of my favorite content creators out there. And that is her philosophy is to just be faster than anyone else, which she learned from someone else. That wasn't her original philosophy. She learned it from one of her mentors who said that his secret to success was just that he was faster. While everybody else was sitting around thinking about what to do, he had already tried three things that didn't work and adjusted and was moving forward. So she adopted that into her own business philosophy and runs her own businesses the same way. And I'm like, that really makes a lot of good sense.
We'll be talking about
Mhm.
leadership under pressure. We'll
Mhm.
be talking about failed projects. We'll be talking about earned wisdom, everything that has worked and everything that's not working. And it's going to be a genuine conversation as we move forward.
Well, I'm here for it, and I'm looking forward to contributing, but I'm also looking forward to the knowledge and wisdom I take away from these.
This podcast is not being created to build a big audience. If that happens, that's great. But
Yeah.
this is going to be organic. This is not going to be sponsored. This is not going to be any kind of clickbait nonsense. We'll have people on that have something intelligent to say, something to share, whether it's about their book, whether it's about their experience competing internationally, if it's about SEO marketing, if it's about building a company from scratch and still doing it 25 years later. We're going to have legit, honest conversations.
It's also going to be some conversations about what it means to get older. We're kind of at that stage. We're grandparents now, which is a very exciting stage of life. That's another thing that is driving this for us is the recognition that we are entering that season of our lives and we want to be able to leave something behind for our kids and our grandkids.
So, if I'm being fully transparent, I started to have the idea about putting stuff down like now. I didn't plan on putting it on the internet, but I wanted to start recording stuff like this
Mhm,
because, I lost my grandfather. I lost my mom, I lost my dad. Well, all my grandparents are gone, but my grandfather was
mhm,
closest. I lost them all and I don't remember their voice. I remember some of the stories. And my grandfather, we laugh about stuff he said to this
mhm.
day. There's something hysterical about a man that's funny while not trying to be funny.
It's the best kind.
It was the craziest stuff he would say and do, like he was a crazy man. And he was absolutely sane and absolutely meant everything he said. And it was the craziest damn thing you ever seen.
But he also gave us a lot of wisdom that I mean, because a lot of he was funny, but he was also right.
Yeah. Like, as hard as you work, you think your ass would be smaller. That's some wisdom nuggets right there.
Didn't you tell me in episode 1 we couldn't curse? But if we're gonna tell a captain story, it's gonna have some cursing in it because that was just the way that he was, but man, those were some funny, funny stories. We could do an entire episode just about the captain.
I could do a whole stand-up routine on the captain.
I've always thought you missed your great calling in life to be a stand-up comedian because you're very witty and you're very fast, and you could do an entire set on just your experiences with the captain.
So, trying to get back on subject here, we will talk about mental health. We've lost friends in our peers to themselves, and I think it really has to be spoken about. It's 2026. There's pressure from everywhere, and I think we need to remove the stigma for men to speak to healthcare professionals or their friends or
Mhm,
anybody that'll listen. I would rather listen to you cry on my shoulder than be at your funeral.
mhm,
So we're gonna, we're gonna go to some not dark places, but we're gonna go to some serious places to discuss mental
mhm.
health and continuing to be here day after day.
Yeah, real places that everybody has been at some point or another in their lives.
So this is going to be an honest, non-clickbait, uh, real. I was getting to 3 years ago. I started to have an idea that I wanted to have my voice, my image, and some of my real thoughts recorded for my children and my grandchildren, and who knows, great grandchildren. Long way from that. We have two little grandchildren. One's a week old. So, but I wanted to have something out there that was me, that was us,
Mhm.
right?
And this is a worthy way to record all of that. And as the technology gets better, who knows? Maybe it'll eventually we'll have holograms of us before it's all said and done like Star Wars.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Wouldn't that be cool?
I want in Iron Man where he goes like this and the computer is the entire room and he can touch 3D. I can't wait for that technology.
Oh, I don't know if we're that far off of it. I guess we'll see.
I know there was one company that was working on a little cube that projected on the wall, so your screen could be as big as you could get it on the wall.
I remember that was a few years ago. I don't know where whatever happened to
That's
that.
why I didn't name the name of the company. It was on the tip of my tongue, and I decided not to say it.
Well, they've taken a few run at like what used to be the Google glasses. Remember the Google glasses back years ago, and everybody kind of panned them. But that idea never really totally died, and they're back, in some form in a partnership with Ray-Ban, and I think you'll see more things like that. So sometimes it just takes a little bit longer to become mainstream marketable than you think. So that early thing that you saw of that's probably not gone. It's just being iterated right now behind the scenes, I have no doubt.
So this podcast is not about building numbers, it's about building followers, the right people, the right audience, the right tribe, right? If you're a little quirky, find your tribe is what they say. So that's what we're looking for. There's no shortcuts. We're not going to have shortcuts here, no cheat code. This is roll up your sleeves and do the work. And that sounds cliche, and that's not what we're about. But I mean, this is about Elizabeth and I we had, during the crash of 2008, we had W-2 jobs, and then we would come home and we would work side jobs from 6 at night till 10 or 11 at night every single night. We'd work either all day Saturday or all day Sunday and half a day on the Saturday or Sunday that we didn't work the full day. It was 7 days a week for several years.
That was a rough season for everyone, and at the time I was in construction, so we did take a beating from that, but we came out the other side of that stronger. And you said that it sounds like a cliche, but cliches become cliches because they're grounded in truth. So it's not a bad thing.
2008, I remember, I'll tell this little story real quick. I was working a job down in Georgia and I got in the car and you called me and you said, actually, you sent me a note and said, "Hey, can we talk?" So I called you and you said, "I got to let you know I got let go today."
Mhm.
And uh, I remember telling you, well, that's not the worst news I heard today.
Yeah, and it was not the worst news you had heard that day. So that was a rough season on a few different fronts that day
So,
because you were losing your mother at that time.
yeah. So that was, man, that was hardship, right? But all you can do is get up the next day and you do what you know how to do. Go
Mhm,
to work, you be a man. In 2008, we still had 2 kids that were in middle school. So we
mhm.
had young kids. We had car payments, house payments, 1 income, sick mother. Wow, that was quite a bit, and here we are today, still
Mhm,
grinding, right?
mhm. We had to make a lot of hard decisions in that 5-year span between 2008 and 2013 or so. It was a lot of hard decisions, but we learned so much from that that has served us well in the years since then. And those are the kind of stories that I know everybody has, and that's what I want to hear from everyone and pass that down because there'll be another 2008 for again, there'll be another situation like that. And so just sharing what the survival strategies were, I think is helpful. Makes everybody realize that they weren't the only ones. And when it happens again, we've been through this before, we're going to get through it again.
And I will tell you that in 2008, we had just finished Financial Peace University, not
Yeah.
6 weeks before you lost your job.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for, and I'm not, you know, sponsoring Dave Ramsey or Financial Peace, but I'm going to tell you that that gave us permission to live our life in a different way than you've been programmed your entire life.
Yeah, it really did. And it gave us the courage to make those decisions when everybody around us was telling us that we were crazy, wrong, whatever it was. It gave us the courage to do what we felt that we needed to do. And that is really what put us on a better path overall. So that was really well timed for us.
And how has that changed your perspective for the rest of your life moving forward?
Immensely, completely changed my relationship with money, my relationship with public opinion, my relationship with what is important and what you can do without. We learned we could do without a lot of things, right? And what things truly are luxuries, which is almost everything, honestly. Your actual needs are very basic.
Absolutely correct.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, gang. So we're going to wrap this up here. I appreciate you so very much for being here. Beth, appreciate you being.
Yeah.
You may hear me call her Elizabeth. You may hear her call Beth. She goes by Beth, but with a name like Beth Barber, she gets called.
Barbara, I get that a lot. So if I introduce myself as Elizabeth Barber, it helps make the distinction. But in my daily life, I do go by Beth Barber. But if I introduce myself as Beth Barber, I will immediately be called Barbara for the rest of time. So even when I do introduce myself as Elizabeth, that doesn't always work. And I'll even send emails where my signature says Elizabeth Barber and the reply will come back Barbara. So I'm just learning how to answer to Barbara now.
So I'm gonna do a little joke on myself. Back when the boys were in high school, they wrestled, and we had a woman whose son wrestled on the team, and Beth was talking about, God, everybody calls me Barbara, and I thought this woman had the coolest name. It was Tammy McClammy, and I thought, what a fantastic name! It rhymes. How cool! And she said, I know everybody he calls me Tammy, and I thought, well, I call you Tammy. She goes, yeah, my name's Tracy. So So here I am, like a goof, calling her Tammy McClammy for years, thinking she had the coolest name, and I just made it up.
Well, you were not the only one that made it up. Everybody made it up. Humans are interesting creatures, aren't we?
So, all right, gang, to wrap this up, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining us on Life Served Neat, and we're gonna get more in depth
Mhm.
as we go here. So, have a great week.